All right. So from my understanding, Coach David Thorpe here is talking trash about the San Antonio Spurs. Someone sent this to me. I don't know what negative thing you can really say about us right now. I don't. I'm curious.
I want some rest. Are we having fun yet?
All right, so we're gonna listen to what our boy David Thorpe has to say here. I'm genuinely curious because, guys, I don't really know what negative thing you can say about the Spurs at this point, right? We've been doing a good job with the offseason. I mean, we got some promising young players. I mean, obviously the roster isn't what it's going to be, but a few guys gotta go. You maybe some trades here and there, down the line, and we still got 2025. What negative thing can you say? All right, let's listen.
We'll see about Jeremy. You have Kelton Johnson. Trey Jones is the backup one. It's probably pretty good. They've still got some more guard issues that they have to clean up. I'm just not a big believer in the Spurs anymore. I have real.
I just don't know what we're talking about. Believer as in what? Like, did you think that they were going to make the playoffs this year? I mean, this team is not what it's going to be in a year. We all knew that going into it. Interesting.
Concerns about it. Their roster is pretty good. It's on the coaching staff now to do a job.
So let's touch on that a little bit further. So you think with the right development, who was on that roster right now?
This dude's voice is perfect for YouTube. Oh my God, it's perfect for radio. That's a good voice.
Something like a little bit further. So you think with the right development, who was on that roster right now? They should be, if they were developing properly, they should be a pretty decent team. Is that your opinion?
Yep.
Okay.
I think Devin Vassell, he's still young, maybe 23.
But yes, he's
a
23.
very talented two-way player who plays the right way and great teammate.
Devin Vassell is a two-way player, but I think that's thrown out way too often for comfort for me. Like, I think that he's a decent defender, but I don't know if he's like a true two-way. You know what I mean? I don't know. You probably disagree with me in the comments on that. I mean, even the guys that we have him guarding, it's usually like the third best player, if that, third, fourth. But he's great in the lanes, and he's not a liability by any stretch of the imagination. So, yeah.
Same as Wemby. I'm not sure about Jeremy.
23.
I'm not a huge fan of Johnson, but he's a good player. Kelly Johnson. Was I right about
Yep. He's 23. Yep.
23. Yeah.
What do you say about Jeremy? You're not sure about Jeremy.
And great teammate. Same as Wemby. I'm not sure about Jeremy.
I don't like that look. I don't like that look he gave me. I don't like that look.
And great teammate. Same as Wemby. I'm not sure about Jeremy.
Nope. I don't like it. Jeremy's fine. Leave him alone.
23.
I'm not a huge fan of Johnson, but he's a good player. Kelly Johnson. Was I right about
Yep. He's 23. Yep.
23. Yeah.
Maybe 20. My God, so young.
Yeah, he's super young. Yeah. I think they have the makeup of a team that can win 30 to 35 games, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know if they will, but I think they can. For all these teams,
I just don't know what don't believe in. I don't get it.
They need to start building an identity while they're deciding what to do with their personnel. Defense, playing the right way, making the extra pass, playing more fluidly, taking pride in your screens. Professionalism is a big deal.
Oh my God, that scared the crap out of me. Oh my God. What? All right. So hold on. This is where it came from. So someone sent this to me. I'll be honest with you. I don't really see that much of negativity here, but Spurs reporter posted it, and it says, "I'm just not a big believer in the Spurs anymore. I have real concerns about it. Their roster is pretty good. It's the coaching staff now. I just don't really." Let's see what the comments say. I don't know how this was like negative, unless he was trying to say that we have a good enough team, but it's up to our coaching staff to. I just don't know what he doesn't believe in at this point. I mean, I expect us to win 35, about 35 wins, which that will be a huge W for this team, especially since last year. That will be a huge boost. So that's what I expect out of the team. I don't necessarily sit back and believe that they'll make the playoffs or believe that we'll be a playoff team. I'm rooting for us, but I don't think that that'll be the case. So I'm a little confused, to be honest, of what he was trying to say. And no, there's kind of nothing the coaching staff can really do at this point to like make us any. But I mean, we have a great coaching staff. Like, I don't think you look around the league, we have one of the better, if not one of the better. We have one of the best in the league by far. So I mean, if it's not working, a lot of it does come down to personnel at that point, right? There's only so much you can do. I know that Popovich over the years have gotten that reputation for being a guy who can take or do more with less. And I think that a lot of us were pretty fooled by that because we had a really great established team. And so when like Duncan would have to sit, Manu would have to sit, Tony would have to sit, we would still win games. And people didn't realize that Popovich has created with Duncan a really great system. So even when he sat, they still played the right way, and we can manage to get some W's here and there. But we were spoiled. We were spoiled in that regard, and superstars really do matter, And once we didn't have that, and we had to rely on LA and DeMar DeRozan, that's a wrap. That's a wrap, right? You're gonna get a mediocre team. So I think we took that for granted a little bit, and no coach, and that's not just Popovich. No coach can do a whole lot with less with the talent level that is the NBA. Okay, you're going against a great team or a very talented team, not always a great team, but a very talented team every single night. So yeah, you have to have the star power. Anyways, this person says, to be fair, the coaching staff has a lot to prove. I don't really think they do, honestly. The Sohan experiment was a disaster, and I don't think it was a disaster. Okay, I'll talk about that in a minute. And I guess the Malachi experiment also a disaster. I don't know what the Malachi experiment was. They basically put Malachi in a position where he needed to be more of a catch and shoot shooter, and he did pretty well with that. But it's not just the coaching staff, it's also the front office that has weight on their shoulders now. Now, I would agree that the front office would have more to prove than the coaching staff. So first off, the Sohan experiment, I don't necessarily think it was a disaster. I think that we learned a lot from it. I think Sohan learned a lot from it, and there's a lot of tendencies that he had previously before being slotted in the point guard position that he no longer has, right? One of which is going across half court and immediately turning his back to the basket. He doesn't do that as often as he did prior. His head is up. He's looking. He's scouting the field, right? So I don't necessarily think that it was a disaster, right? I think the Spurs were going to lose games regardless, and I think that it was a good experiment for him and good experience for him, and I think he did benefit from it. I think our team in turn is going to benefit from it in the future. And like I said, don't know what the Malachi experiment was. So moving on. So we got White and Murray at the end of the draft, ran them through our developmental process. One became an all-star, the other just won a championship, and now we are spewing out more talent on late pick players, and he is complaining about not being a believer. I don't really understand. I'm kind of with the hoopster here. I don't quite understand the argument. I don't know what we're upset about. It's unfair to say Pop isn't coaching to win. Our players are winners. Just ask the Celtics. Spurs played for the lottery sliding this year again, and they also developed Wemby and Vassell. We have a plan, but Thorpe, didn't provide any details on why he feels that way. Wish he did. I'm very, yeah. I don't know what is it that he doesn't believe in. I don't. He just kind of said, "Oh, it's up to the coaching staff." But what does that mean? We have a good coach. What does that mean? I think it comes down to having the right talent, right? I will accept people getting on, even though I think Brian Wright is a phenomenal GM. I will accept people criticizing or holding judgment at least for the GM in the front office, but I don't get it with the coaching. Don't get it at all. Let's see. I have some issues with some of the plays and not having Wemby be the focus. He was the focus last year. Wemby was definitely the focus offensively last year. What the heck are Mitch Johnson and Matt Nielsen, who some are proclaiming one will be Pop's heir apparently. Bring back Becky Hammond. I don't know, man. After that Becky Hammond news, I don't know how I feel about her. And this one says, we don't need his belief. Don't double back though. Annoying commentary. Okay. All right. Hold on. A few people, did they disagree with your boy the hoopster here? I think his point is, okay. So this person broke down what do you think his point is. I think his point is we are developing players to help other teams win, but our own team can't win because Popovich isn't coaching to win. Have you seen our win-loss record sliding for the last 6 or 7 years? Can't argue with them for having concerns. What? Okay, we are developing players to help other teams win. Okay, first and foremost, I don't understand that at all. Look, DeJounte Murray hit his peak with the San Antonio Spurs, right? He was basically at his peak. I don't think he's any better, slightly worse defensively, but I don't think he's any better than he was with the Spurs. Same thing with Derek White. Like, while Derek White is just in a better position now, I think that we still got peak Derek White. Like, he's been peak for a while, but I think that we got peak Derek White. Just, he's in a better position right now, right? So he looks even better, and he doesn't have as much weight on his shoulders. But to say, like, we're just developing players for other teams, I don't buy any of that. And Popovich is coaching to win. I don't know what we're talking about here. And it makes sense for our win-loss record to slide over the last 6 or 7 years, because over the last 6 and 7 years, we've not only had a pretty mediocre roster, but then we also just went through a rebuild. One of the shortest rebuilds I've seen from any team ever. Really impressive to get your, I mean, we're still in the rebuild process, but to get your superstar, I mean, that's like the biggest hurdle that teams, go through. And it literally took like a season. So I don't know, not buying that. I think it's mainly because White and Murray were a small sample size on a team with vets and all-stars. With the current group past 6-7 years, the sample size is a lot bigger, so people are going to point to the record, etc. Someone else says that was a long time ago. A lot of the staff has moved on since. Yeah. So anyways, interesting nonetheless. I was just a little confused, not trying to attack the man or anything or say, what are you talking about? I'm just confused on what he's not a believer in, right? I think most of us agree that the San Antonio Spurs are going to be, more than likely not make the playoffs, but be much better than they were last year. And that's all we can expect right now. Yeah, interesting nonetheless. Anyways, I will get with you guys later. Until next time, man. Bye.